Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about all of the books that I've read from February, March, and April, and it has been a lot. I've read 15 books since February, and we're going to go over them all. Let's get into February first. In February, I read one book. A whopping one book. I read Fast by Millie Belazaire. This was a Black basketball romance. It was very, very dark with some of the themes that were discussed, so I would check trigger warnings before you jump into this one. So basically, it's about this girl, and she moves into this house, and across the street, there's this boy, and they kind of become best friends. They don't really acknowledge that their relationship is romantic until they get to a certain age. And at that point, due to the amount of stuff that happened in the house where she was staying, she leaves and just disappears. And then eventually, years into the future, after he's now a popular basketball player and she is a psychiatrist, basically working with kids that have also went through kind of what she's went through and just kind of helping underprivileged kids, her and him reconnect, and their love story blossoms from there. And it is very emotional, but it is so good and so worth the read. Then we are gonna jump into March. In March, I was reading banger after banger after banger. I had so many 5-star reads in March. It was an amazing reading month. I started off the reading month with All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. That was our book club pick for the month. And Daddy Rhodes, I love him. It was so good. Basically, the story is about Aurora, and she is kind of down on her luck. So she decides to do all of the hikes that her mom did before her mom disappeared. And this takes her back to a town, and she moves in to Mr. Rhodes' guest house, and they slowly, because it's a slow burn, kind of develop a friendship that turns into something else. And it was so good. I loved watching Aurora kind of insert herself into their family. I loved watching her interact with his son, because he has a 16-year-old son, and kind of seeing just their whole dynamic as she kind of gets closer and closer to them. It was great. Then I read The Lies of Lena by Kylie Snow. This is also a pretty dark fantasy romance, so I would say check your trigger warnings, but it was so good. I will say the beginning half of the book, I was kind of bored, because in the beginning half of the book, Lena is 16, and it kind of follows her falling in love for the first time. Then things happen, and we have a time jump, and then the story really kicks off from there. So if you could push through the little young love phase and get to the second half of the book, it takes off. And I heard that the second book is even better, so I definitely have that on my TBR, because I cannot wait to continue with the series. I gave this book 4.5 stars. Then I listened to Two Can Play by Ali Hazelwood. This was just a short, sweet Ali Hazelwood novella. Same thing that she does all the time. They're gamers, and they have to work together to make a game, and they hate each other. But obviously, he has loved her this whole time. She doesn't know it. And they fall in love. Classic Ali. It was short, it was sweet. I gave it 3 stars. Then Ali hit me with a banger. I read Deep End, and I absolutely love this book. This book is about Lucas and Scarlett, and Scarlett basically is into some stuff, and Lucas is too. And they decide to explore that because Lucas's ex-girlfriend, Penelope, is drunk at a party one night, and she's like, oh my goodness, you two like the same things, you should bang. And Bang they did. And many times. It was so good. But aside from the banging, you also navigate Scarlett trying to kind of break a block that she has because she's a competitive diver and she got injured, and now this is her first season back and she cannot complete a certain dive, and you work through her navigating how to get back into the swing of things. And Luke is helping her along the way. I love them so much. My Shaylas, my Shaylas, my Shaylas. 5 stars to Deep End. Then I read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. So good. This book is about Justin and Emma, and basically Justin posts a Am I the Asshole thread on Reddit, and Emma responds back to it, and they basically start chatting it up, and they both believe that they have the same curse. Every time one of them dates a person and they break up, immediately the person finds the love of their life. So they kind of make a pact and say, okay, well, what if we date each other and then we can cancel out the curse? And that means that when we break up, we will meet our soulmate. And you follow them falling in love. But it does also cover some heavy themes. Justin has some stuff going on in his home life, and Emma also has a lot going on in her life. And you just kind of watch these two basically become friends and navigate both of their lives. Emma has to make a lot of decisions, and Justin is there with her along the way. He's the sweetest man alive. I am obsessed with him. So definitely read this, 5 stars. And I read Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone, and I don't know. I feel like Cara Bastone's writing is just not for me, because I read Cara Bastone's debut book, which was Ready or Not, and it was Surprise Pregnancy. A lot of people were like, oh, if you liked Out on a Limb, you'd probably like Ready or Not. I love Out on a Limb. It's one of my favorite books of all time by Hannah Bonham Young. And when I read Ready or Not, I don't know. I feel like Cara Bastone's MMCs are perfect, but her FMCs kind of have a juvenile outlook on life. Like, they do some weird things and they have some weird quirks, and it's just not for me. Like in this book, it's about Lenny and Miles, and Lenny is really going through it. Her best friend recently passed, and she is trying to navigate grief because she feels as if she has lost her person. And it's very emotional. It's a very great depiction of what grief can be like. And Miles basically has also went through a lot of grief in his life, and he meets Lenny and he kind of meets her where she's at. He is like, I'm gonna be here for you. I'm gonna be your person so that you can start to live your life again. And it was a beautiful story. Like I said, I just did not like Lenny. I feel like she had some really weird quirks. Like, every guy that she met, she would basically make up a story of how they would live their lives if they were to get married. Or she would even sometimes make up stories on how, if they were together, how they would break up. And I just wasn't feeling it. I was like, I don't know, Lenny, you lost me. But Miles was awesome. And if it wasn't for me just not connecting with the FMC, I think I would have rated it higher, but I gave it 3 stars. And I read Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I also gave this book 3 stars. Summer After is about Percy and Sam, and Percy and Sam were the best of friends growing up. Every summer, Percy would come to their lake, and Sam and Sam's brother would be there, his older brother, Charlie, and basically they were like 2 peas in a pod. And then one summer, something goes down and Percy leaves and she never comes back. And this is their story, kind of navigating her return to the lake. Sam's mom also has passed, who was a very large figure in Percy's life. And it's basically just them hashing out what happened and growing from there. To me, because it was only over a span of a certain period of time. I was not here for it. I definitely believe that the miscommunication was heavy in this book. If Sam and Percy had just picked up the phone, typed out a text, I mean, this could have been solved with an email. But the fact that they both were kind of being stubborn, it took forever, like literally 12 years for them to figure their ish out, and that irritated me. It did. And I didn't really feel connected to them. Then I read Reckless by Elsie Silver. I gave this book 4.5 stars. So good. It is surprise pregnancy. It's about Winter and Theo, and basically they kind of have a one night stand, and Winter gets pregnant. Theo goes on tour because he is a bull rider, and it's kind of like surprise baby because Theo doesn't know. So Theo comes back into town, and him and Winter have to figure their ish out, and it was so good. It was very slow burn, which I loved. I loved that they didn't just get back together because they had a baby. Like, he had to work for it because Winter was like, I do not need no mans. I'm a doctor. I have my baby. I am good. And it just was amazing seeing someone who has gone through so much, aka mommy issues. I can relate, Winter, but seeing her go through so much, and she takes so long to trust, and watching Theo be so patient and wait for her to trust him and not forcing himself into her life, like literally just being there for her in whatever capacity she would allow him to be until she was ready to fully let him in. Oh, so good. So I love them. It might even be a 5-star. I might change it because now I'm like, dang, it was so good, and the audio was amazing. And that concludes all of the books that I read in March. We are now moving on to April. In April, I read 6 books, I believe, and I started off with a tandem read of A Touch of Darkness and A Game of Fate by Scarlett St. Clair. I personally gave them both 3 stars. I do not really love heavily spiced books, and that's just what these books are. And I can call a spade a spade. It is what it is. It's just not my cup of tea. Were they bad necessarily? No. At times I was intrigued by the storyline. I just wish there was more plot and less spice. I feel like Persephone and Hades only thought about smashing one another, and reading the same story in a different POV was just like, oh my gosh, I want to smash Hades. And it was like, oh my gosh, I want to smash Persephone. And I was tired of reading that for almost 400 pages. So that is why I gave these 3 stars. Then I listened to another little novella palette cleanser. I listened to The Fallerist by Abby Jimenez. This was also really short and sweet and good. Basically, these 2 people get trapped in their apartment complex because the stairs get taken away for some reason. They're there for the weekend until they can rebuild the stairs on Monday. And they basically kind of meet each other, chat, talk, and fall in love. It's very insta-lovey, but it's cute. He's a tree guy, so you get a lot of like tree and plant facts in this book. I thought it was just fine for an Abby Jimenez book. And then I re-entered my Hunger Games era. Did I ever leave my Hunger Games era? I don't think I ever did. But I read A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes because I read The Hunger Games last year. I read the whole trilogy for the first time ever. I wish I could go back, rewind, reread it with fresh eyes because I had a time. I'm in love. Like, I don't think I've matched the feeling that I've had from the Hunger Games since. Like, it was amazing. So I read A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This is basically President Snow's story of how he kind of came up in the Capitol. And you really, he's such a funny guy. You really, like, navigate the inside of his brain. And he's so weird. Like, He has always been selfish. It's always been me, 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 me. And this man is so paranoid. He literally thinks everyone is out to get him. It doesn't matter how much people say they love him, his best friend, like his lover, he doesn't care. The minute he thinks you're after him, he is slicing you in the back like a snake. Like he literally was a snake. Literally. I loved it. I gave it 4 stars just because until a book in the Hunger Games verse matches the Hunger Games, it's going to be a 4-star. And I really enjoyed reading the Hunger Games from a different perspective. It was nice to see how someone from the outside looking in viewed the Hunger Games. I think that was pretty cool. And that would bring me into Sunrise on the Reaping. I read Haymitch's book. This was a highly anticipated read for me, but I will say I feel as if it felt kind of flat. Out of all of the Hunger Games books, this was my least favorite because basically it just retold Haymitch's story. I think I just got kind of bored because we know what happens in Haymitch's games. It's not unknown. And just reading the same things that have happened before, I kind of wanted a fresher story. I also do believe that Haymitch's story had too much pain. He didn't get a break. And even though the Hunger Games is pretty bleak, you did have some moments of joy. You know, like Haymitch was just pain and pain and pain. And I was like, dang, get off my neck, Suzanne. So for that reason, I gave it 3 stars. It was still enjoyable, but was not my fave. And I read Bull Rush by Maggie Rodden. This was my last book of the month. I also gave this book 3 stars, so we did not end April off with bangers. We ended it off with some duds. I gave this book 3 stars to be nice because honestly, it was kind of weird. Like, not weird, but like, it had me in the first half. I liked the premise, but then it kind of just got all over the place. Basically, I don't remember these characters' names. I'm not even going to try to remember them. But it is about this woman. She owns this ranch. She's engaged, and she is like, oh my goodness, the ranch, we're going under, we're broke. She goes to the bank, she tries to get a loan, and the bank is like, you need to consult your husband, and on top of that, your husband's a felon, so I don't know if we could approve this loan for you because he needs to get that figured out first. And she's like, husband? She's like, I'm engaged, I don't have a husband. And he's like, well, according to these documents, you're legally married in the state of Colorado. And she was like, okay, let me go get this figured out. And then you kind of switch to her husband's POV. He's getting out of jail. He's about to go on parole. And they're like, you're married. And he's like, no, my ex-wife. And they're like, no, you guys are still legally married. And he's like, perfect. And basically, he tells her that he's gonna make a proposal. She has to be with him for 90 days. And if she is with him for 90 days, and I mean full body, mind, and soul, okay, for 90 days, then he will give her $1 million. He'll give her fiance $1 million, and she can have the ranch all to herself. He'll sign the divorce papers, no contest, and she can live her life hanky-dory. And she's like, my fiance's not gonna agree to this. You're crazy. And her fiance's like, no, do it. And basically, they were roommates. And they moved in together. And it is kind of like a second chance redemption. And she falls back in love with her husband. And then some wild, weird plot stuff just comes in out of nowhere. And the story goes bonkers. But it just was not for me. I feel like she folded too easily. Her husband needed to grovel more. He needed to be on his knees a little bit more. she was like a week in, she was like, oh, my legs are open. Girl, have some respect for yourself. Like, why would you do that? So I didn't like that aspect. I kind of like the men to beg a little bit more. But other than that, it was decent. That concludes all of the books that I've read in the past few months. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you made it this far, leave a black heart in the comments. And also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye!